Thank you.
We supposed to be honoring our programs.
Hey, hello. Can you hear me? Yes. Here we go. I do want to introduce Angel when she gets here. She's on her way because it really was her idea to just be at the courthouse and help people in eviction, and it's been very helpful to everyone there. However, we really noticed that the evictions went up. They doubled between 2021 and 2022. And the difference was that the rental assistance ended at the beginning of 2022. The city program ended, and there wasn't a substantial amount of money to help people stay in their homes. And so the evictions doubled from about 2,900 in 2021 to almost 6,000 households evicted, and about 1,700 probably have their homes locked out and put them out. And we're seeing other information from legal aid. There was a big drop in tenants being able to keep their homes. So legal aid does a great job of preventing a judgment, but unless there is rent assistance money, people don't get to keep their homes typically. And so it dropped from 72% when there was the substantial rental assistance funds that the city and county were using at the beginning of 2022. When that ended, it dropped from 72% staying in their homes to 49%. So only half of the families would be able to stay. And we've had conversations with people. It's really just about the money. They've had a hardship. They can't catch up. They get behind a few months and then they're out. And we have people who are actually sleeping on the streets now, and the shelters are full, and the hotels and the housing is too expensive, and it's very, very difficult to find housing for the lowest income people, including, by the way, the shelter that I have been sending people to since the county shelters were full was the Durham Rescue Mission. As I was visiting just yesterday, I was told that there was no room for families at the Durham Rescue Mission, surprisingly. So we're really in a dire situation. So we are talking today about how to help people who are at the lowest income, extremely low income people, under 18,000 or 20,000. And how can we help them if they have high rent? 50% or higher is extremely high rent. But in Durham, there are more than 8,000 households at that income, that low income, that are paying more than 50% of their income. So how can we help them? And we learned that the county was interested in a guaranteed income program, and we wanted to try this out. We're hoping the county will fund it this year so that it can get started, I think, next year. And it would basically provide a monthly income of $600 a month. And that can pay for a room in a rooming house. It can pay a low rent or supplement your income to pay your rent and stay in your home. So the goal is to prevent eviction, prevent homelessness, and help people stabilize their housing. And as you know, stable housing does so much for families and for people's health, both physical health and mental health. So we have a wonderful partner in this proposal for a rental assistance guaranteed income program. And I want to introduce James Stroud, and he's got a wonderful HUD housing counseling agency that serves Durham. And I hope he'll speak about his agency and what he hopes to do to help people here in Durham. Thank you. Yes.
First of all, I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to come today. And it's a privilege, of course, to be able to work with you because I've worked with Larissa in the past. And we have also shared the same views. And we know that the city of Durham altogether has a major problem with housing and the homeless population and that sort of thing. So I'm going to start off by saying, my name is James Stroud, of course, Executive Director for the Center for Homeownership. We started this plight in 2004. I originally came from Chapel Hill. I was working with the planning department, and we have a lot of affordable housing people coming to us, but no one seemed to know how to get that off the project. So that's what gave me the desire to want to start an organization that would help the community as far as those that are underprivileged. So with that being said, I want to go a step further and say, I am now the region lead for the North Carolina Coalition to End Homelessness. We have about 800 individuals right now within our region that are homeless. So therefore, I am very familiar. And we too are looking for strategies and ways in which to bring people from outdoors in their cars, under bridges, et cetera, and that sort of thing. So I would say this particular initiative is very dear to my heart. When it comes to community development and community resources, that's where my heart is. Now, oftentimes you get individuals that want to help us simply because everybody's after the money. Everybody's looking at what can I gain out of this? Well, we might not be able to gain a lot personally or financially from this, but at least we can sleep at night. We know that people are being able to lay their hands on a pillow and they can come in and they can be made whole once again. So I also wanted to say, I brought today with me my staff that handles the rental assistance, Penny Carpenter. Penny, wave your hand. Penny helped us with the emergency rental assistance program with the city of Durham for the last 2 years, and that program was very successful. I think we saw over 300 individuals that came through the program that we were able to assist, and of course we had good traction with that. So we feel like because of the experience with that, we're ready to take on this particular mission, along with partners that are in place. So to talk a little bit about the program, as Larissa had mentioned, this program basically is a rental assistance guaranteed income program. And what we would do is serve as the fund administrator to promote and deliver the services to those individuals that are vulnerable, of course, low income. And we are hoping that with the services that we offer, they would be able to sustain themselves. We would give them financial coaching, budget and credit counseling if they needed that. But most of all, we would be able to give them something to look forward to as far as sustaining their lives. That's what we do. We are a HUD certified counseling agency, and we serve 18 counties in North Carolina. At this moment, what we're looking at is for the city of Durham, the county of Durham, is that we know that there are 8,000 individuals or households that are, as she mentioned, 50% below income, correct?
Below 30%.
Below 30%.
30% of the area needs income.
Right, income, okay. So we know that we've got some work to do. It's going to take a collaboration with all of us, as many partners as possible. I'm going to say legal aid, housing authority, just to name a few. We're going to really need everybody's support because we realize that this is something that really needs to take place. With this program, we would probably administer the funds through a financial institution because it's just, I think that's probably the way we want to go with that. And so what we would do is we would bring those individuals in, we would make sure we vet them so that we'll know that this is the right person for us, because I know we've got to do some support. Anytime the commissioners or the city is going to put out money, they're going to look for metrics. They're going to say, how successful is this program? How do you plan to seek the program? And what are your goals and your priorities? So I think we're going to really take a second look at that and a hard look at that as well, so that we'll make sure that we can give them data that they need to make sure that they provide whatever we need at this point to obtain that. Initially, I think we had said that this would be a $3.7 million project. Is that for 2 years? 1.8 million per year? 1.8 million per year. And of course, we're looking at working with 250 individuals. And again, I think that we know that those individuals not gonna all come at one time, but at least we would have something to start with. And I just know that this program will work if we can just provide enough data and just make the county and the city feel comfortable in what we're about to implement.
We're talking about a 2-year program for those 250 people, because we want to be sure that it's sustainable. And James' agency not only does housing counseling, but does workforce development. And maybe we want to talk about.
Yeah, and what we do is we have a community development officer that does the workforce development. We also do business skill training. So we know that everyone cannot work, but they might be able to start a little small business on their own. They might be able to do a yard business. They might be able to do bakery. They might maybe do something with flowers or what have you. But we want to make sure that everyone is open to at least sustaining their lives. So we would introduce that workforce development training piece. And we would also encourage them to maybe go to Durham Community College to take on maybe a 6-month course or what have you. In fact, one of our board members is employed by the Durham Community, the community college. And so therefore, I'm sure that she's going to open arms to that. Mary Moore, I don't know if you know her, but anyway, she's on our board. And so Mary does a fantastic job of bringing all the programs available, letting us know about the scholarships that are out there. There's so many dollars available through the community college that these individuals will be able to take advantage of. It could be a CNA. I mean, anything that they could possibly do to bring in income for themselves. That's what we want to do. We want to bring them in so that they will be able to sustain after this program has gone away. We don't want to just give them put a Band-Aid on, but we want to make sure that they're able to move forward with their lives. And if they're given the right opportunities and the right education component in which we plan to propose, I think they will be on track.
What was your experience with the emergency rental assistance program, and will this be different than the way that operates?
This is a little different simply because I think most people that did and I'm gonna let Penny speak to this. I'm gonna put her on the spot. I think what happened with the ERAC program was the fact that we were not ready for so many people that came forward. We just had a flood of individuals. We didn't realize that we had such a problem here in the area that needed rental assistance. And so I think that was major for us. Now, we were able to help some as far as financial coaching, budgeting, that sort of thing. And we did resources. We always offer resources. One of our requirements as a HUD counseling agency is to give them referrals and resources. So when a client comes to us, we have to give them a total picture of where they need to be within a certain period of time. And that's what we focus on. Peter, would you like to add anything?
You're going to need to get further.
I think that
Right
the
up to your-
biggest,
yeah, right up your mouth.
the
There you go.
biggest problem with most of the people that came to us from ERAP were those people that pay in more than 50% of their income. A lot of them paid 100% of their income. So they think, okay, well, I get $1,200 a month and my rent's $1,000. That's affordable. No, it's not affordable because you can't afford food and gas and electricity. And that's a mindset thing where I get this much in Social Security, so this is affordable rent, and it's not. So that's where the budgets and financial coaching comes into place, because they don't realize that, no, because you have $1,000 rent and $1,200 coming in, that $200 is not going to stretch to cover everything you need to pay for. And a lot of our clients had their rent was 100% or more of the rent.
Is it only for people who?
You're gonna have to share the mic.
You have to.
Share the mic, for sure. Go ahead.
Is it for people who've been evicted already?
No, all the way, all the way.
Was ERAP only for people who have been evicted already?
No.
No, okay.
That, by the way, is one advantage of this program. It's proactive. You don't have to be evicted. That's the idea.
Any questions? Yes.
I work with I was volunteer with our walk-in ministry here, and so a lot of people who would probably qualify for this receive some type of government assistance. And I'm concerned about what $600 might do to their eligibility in other programs. Have you all given that some thought?
Okay, she wanted to know if in fact, if that was a problem, if the individual, they're getting government funds or say social security or disability, and they're only allowed to get a certain amount. Would this program impact them getting the funds? That is a possibility.
So one thing that maybe Dan can speak to is that our intent is for people to pay at least 30% of their income for rent if they have that $600 a month. We hope that that will certainly, cover that for most people who we expect to serve. And so they would be paying 30% of their own money. So I don't think their rents would necessarily go up if their incomes really are under 18,000 or 20,000 a year. I think the $600 would, help,
Okay, we're an ongoing thing, that it would probably figured in at the time they recertify.
when they recertify.
But if it's a temporary thing, I have to, I don't want to give a definitive answer, but I would hope not.
So there may be other programs besides the Durham
Sure.
Housing Authority, because I'm more knowledgeable about housing than I am other services. So are there other folks who can speak to what happens if you're on?
Yeah, Anthony Scott's here.
Oh. Yeah, we'll probably need to meet with Anthony.
Wish I knew how to get him on.
I don't know if I can say this without coming up to the mic.
You gotta come up to the mic.
Everybody's getting some stuff.
There might be something.
Not a choice.
Rating.
Yes, we could adjust it.
It's complicated. I mean, when you overlay the federal programs, any kind of state, and look, it gets very complicated. If you're receiving Medicaid, for example, your healthcare needs, you met through Medicaid, but you have this money coming in, but you're not supposed to have more than $40 a month of personal spending money for Medicaid. So that the program would tend to take or reduce benefits, $560 or something like. So anyway, that's all something to be worked out. And I'm just happy we have folks strong enough and bright enough to figure these things out.
And then let me say this, we might not be able to help everyone. It's a situation where we will be able to help a certain amount. I feel like we'll get the 250, but in that particular case, we might not be able to help that person because they can pay their rent. I mean, they have enough income, or perhaps the rent is at a point where they can afford it. So I don't know, but we'll have to go back and make those adjustments. Any other questions? Floor is open. Questions?
You would see them.
What is the money in April that if you want to?
So since this is a sorry.
John has a hand up.
Well,
Yep.
this is a simple one. Is this already approved by our city and
No.
county, or is this a proposal? Can you just share that?
So can you say that out loud?
This is just a proposal, but I did sit in on the county work session, and we've been in conversation with county commissioners, and they may be able to fund it, and they seem very interested in this program. We also have a new Department of Social Services director who's just started today. So I hope to meet with her. And I've asked that Wendy Jacobs, the chair of the Social Services Board, if we can meet at the end of this month and see, if we can get some funding secured for this coming year.
You say also, would this be city and county sharing this, or is it just the county?
But we were.
Can you
we're
repeat that?
requesting-
Can you repeat that question?
Oh, the question is, what about the city? Are they going to match maybe what the county does? And we asked them for that, and they said, no, we're gonna put, we were asking specifically for ARPA funds. So they said, no, we're putting all of our ARPA funds into building housing with the housing authority. I think it be built over, multiple years, so it won't be available right away. So we feel like this program can help fill a gap until maybe there is more available. But we'll, we will keep asking the city, but it sounded like that particular fund they had dedicated to building housing, as opposed to keeping people in their homes and preventing evictions. But they are preventing evictions with legal aid. The city is, I expect, they will be increasing legal aid because the need has been so great. There were 65 households being evicted today. Legal aid was running back and forth from the third floor to the 6th floor because they had so many people going and had all their staff there.
But one new development that increases our optimism about the county is that they have joined a national group of counties that are committed to promoting guaranteed annual incomes. And although their primary goal is to get a federal program to do this, I think they are also interested in having a program locally. And so we've gotten some indications informally that a majority of the commission could support this program. So we're hopeful that it can move forward, and then that the city could be brought in at a later point to make it a permanent ongoing program. Yeah.
I have a question that you can repeat. What can folks who are part of this meeting or watching online do at this point in Durham, vis-a-vis the county commissioners, to help build support for this program? What practical things would you urge them to do?
Yes, we urge everyone in my hearing to please contact the county commissioners and encourage them to fund a rental assistance guaranteed income program. And we also encourage you, if you wish, to volunteer with Angel, who's here now, and I was going to ask her if she wanted to do another pitch, unless there's other questions.
There is one from online. Debbie Royster wants to know, currently in Durham, a 1-bedroom is going around $1,100, $1,200 a month. Where are the affordable places?
Debbie Royster says, if you want a 1-bedroom, you're lucky to find it for $1,100, $1,200 a month. There's nothing less than 1,000. Yeah, where do you find them? I don't know. That's been the huge frustration of the people that we've worked with, and that's why they are desperate to keep the home that they have and not lose. Some still have 800, 900 rent, and they're hanging on as best they can. So that's why this program is.
But this program then could be used to reduce their housing costs from $1,000 to $400 with the grant that they're getting each month. And so one of the distinctive things about this program is that the payments would go directly to the tenants. And so it would not require that the landlord agree to participate in the program. That would be, if we would get around an obstacle that the housing authority often encounters in getting the landlord to agree. And Dan, can you add anything to that?
Not with the housing authority, but there is someone in mind. However, I will say that if it's made to the landlord, it's not counted the same way as if you give the check to them, it goes through them for some public benefits. So it's up to you all to coordinate with these agencies before you decide what you pay, who you pay, and how you pay it. Because there are ways to minimize the amount of negative impact it might have on their income. That's confusing, but.
Okay, hey everyone, I'm Angel, and I help with Larissa at the courts Monday through Friday. And it's a great need. Anyone who wants to come up and help volunteer, as I do up here with her. So actually what we do when we get there, you know, the tenants come in, you go up on the third floor. And the first problem that I have with that is when they get there, you don't know where to go to. So that causes conflict. Trying to get there, if you're scheduled to be there at 9 o'clock and you don't know where you're going, you're up and down, trying to find it. And by the time you get in the courtroom at 9 o'clock, if they called your name in case, it's dismissed. So you lose out. So that's one pet peeve I have. The second one is that when they get there, you know, it's a list up on the wall on the third floor. And it's color coded and it has what different courtrooms that you belong in. So you look up on there and find your name, which is sometimes hectic if you don't have bad vision or whatever. So what we do, we come in here, when they come in, we ask them. And you gotta be kind of fill people out because people get offended if you ask them, oh, you coming for eviction court, you know, because traffic court is down the hall or someone could be getting married. So I kind of like wait and kind of fill them out. If they have the paper in their hand, you know, you could go and approach them and just show them where it is up on the list, find your name and get into that courtroom ASAP. So, you know, they could have you a roll call and won't have you marked absent. So moving forward, when they come out, if they need help, now what we're doing is getting the packets that they fill out for legal aid, fill that out, go in there to legal aid. So once legal aid has all that, it kind of cuts back some of the work that they have to do. And they handle it from there. But legal aid is doing a tremendous job up there. They are rocking and rolling there. And if it wasn't for them being there, a lot of people would be getting evicted. And it's a lot of cases every day, and it's a lot of total confusion. So anyone wants to come up and volunteer, starts at 9 o'clock. Sometimes it ends at what, is it 10, 11? 10 or 11. Yeah, about 11 o'clock. And we're just assisting people, you know, to know which direction to go in, especially getting there on time and being in the right courthouse. I mean, the courtroom. And that's about it for me.
And Jay,
Yes.
seniors and disabled.
Oh, gosh, yes.
I mean, what percentage would you say?
Yeah. It's been very, you know.
Quarter?
Yeah, probably about like a quarter, because sometimes seniors come by themselves, but a lot of times someone is there assisting them. So I know last year, remember the guy and the other lady came, who I introduced you to, Larissa, they didn't have any idea what to do or what to go. They said, I have this paper. And one lady was like, they keep putting this paper on my door every day, but it's not an eviction. So they get confused and they think at first they think I'm getting put out. So they come there confused and not knowing. So we just try to help them and point them in the right direction to lead.
I mentioned maybe about 25% are elderly disabled. Most are families with young children. We have every day there's a family child comes to the courthouse. It's really hard on children and parents. So, okay, any other questions?
There was a question in the chat about do participants need to be able to work, or do they have to have, is there any kind of work requirement or not?
This is for the new program? Yeah, we'll be encouraging people to improve their income, whether it's employment or getting disability. That can take a long time. It's a 2-year program, so hopefully they will be able to improve their income. And also, James has some other ideas.
Yeah, because again, we want to try to bring workforce development into the module, and also community education if they can, to get some type of trade, because we realized 2 years goes really fast. And for one of the successes of the program, we would think that it would look even much better if they have a goal and an action plan, so that everyone will know where we headed, where we're going, and so we won't get into this rut again. That we won't stay where we are, but we'll move to the next level. And that's our ultimate goal.
You all can repeat this, and I agree with everything you said. To be accepted initially into the program, is there a work requirement? Or can someone who's unemployed be accepted into this program at the front end? Or is that not clear yet?
I don't think there's
No.
any barriers
There's no
in
barrier.
terms of employment.
And I'll repeat the question. He asked if in fact they had to be, if an unemployed person or someone without any income or what have you would be eligible for the program. No, that would not matter, simply because they need to be made whole as well. Yeah. And when I think about that, I think about seniors and disabled individuals. They really don't have any resources. The husband died, what have you. I'm just a widow now. I need help. Those are the sorts of things that we're probably looking at more so than ever.
Any other question? Well, let me talk about our understanding of what schedule is and how this is going to move forward. The county staff is going to be examining what's been proposed, possibilities, and making recommendations to the county commission at their meeting on May 1st. And we think that's probably the point at which we want to make sure we've gotten comments supporting the program to the commissioners before May 1st, because they will choose their priority areas, and then the staff will be examining the proposals related to those. For a meeting, Larissa, when is the meeting when the county will make a decision? May?
First, there's the public hearing on the budget, and that's on May 22nd. And then there will be the vote, I guess, June. I don't have that date on here.
But that May 1st meeting is going to determine which proposals are being set forward as recommendations from the county. And so having comments to the commissioners before May 1st will be very helpful. One of our major objectives here is to take advantage of and learn from, benefit from the experience that James and his organization bring to this, to make this pilot program, demonstrate how this pilot program can work and how it can then be continued as a program funded with hopefully city as well as county resources on an ongoing basis. So this proposal is to use ARPA funds, which can be used for the next 2 years, actually into 2026. So that would cover the 2-year period that the pilot would be operating. And then we need to find local sources to keep this going on a permanent basis. Fortunately, there is that homeowners, taxpayers, low-income homeowners assistance program that will help to ensure that those struggling households have some relief from their tax budget if more property tax is allocated to support a program of this kind. And so that essential condition, I think, is there. Sometimes you'll hear the complaint that if you use property tax, again, after this initial 2-year period, if you use property tax to provide benefits to low-income renters, that's just hurting low-income homeowners. But the grants can provide up to 60% of their property tax payment can be returned to them and reduced from their bill. So this is a very important step forward. It's very interested that the county is interested in developing a guaranteed annual income program. So what we're saying is that these extremely low income renters who are paying more than half of their income for housing are an appropriate and very important target group for the county's guaranteed annual income program. So any other questions or comments?
And Jim said we need support from organizations. We'd love to get that from churches, nonprofits, and community groups. And so please consider whether you can support that with your organization. And we'll be asking today if people going to support this.
Yes, we have, well, this proposal has gone through various stages, without bringing it back to to everyone to get an indication of support for this proposal.
Can you just verify the words that,
Rental, yeah, rental assistance guaranteed income, program. Rental assistance guaranteed income program.
It's like,
But right, Webb has moved that the coalition support the rental assistance guaranteed income program. Any comments about that motion? Is there a second? Second, okay.
you have a
Dan?
question in the back?
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to that same point. For people that you're targeting, I think it's critical that we find out that these funds do not impact their income, their governmental funds, because they'll do more damage to people by doing that than not getting funds. I think that's critical if you look at that.
Yeah, I agree, Jean. We will need to especially look out for folks who are on disability, make sure that we're not harming people, that we're actually, being able to supplement their income, or we can, turn it around, towards more the, actually paying the rent directly to the landlord, if that's what needs to be done. We wanted this to be a guaranteed income program because we think this is a more dignified way of providing funds to people, but, I'm sure people recognize that it may be better to have us pay the rent directly.
So one last question about this, the title of this, because I know the whole movement around guaranteed income assumes that people are smart, can utilize, they need money is what they need, right? And they have the smarts and the how, know how to sort of make things work with that money, right? So
Right,
saying,
I don't think people are hearing
Yeah,
you,
I'm sorry.
and I think it's best if we just go ahead and bring that, and that's why we wanted the guaranteed income.
Right, but by calling about, so the question is from folks online, so the whole idea about guaranteed income is people need money is what they need, right? And so give them the resources, they can make decisions wisely for themselves. So to call it rental assistance guaranteed income, why not just call it guaranteed income?
I think, I think because there is that potential conflict with other public assistance programs, that it's important to be able to do it as a hybrid if we need to. We would love to just be able to give people money and, have them budget and save and all the other things that James Root is going to be coaching people to do, so that it's, that this becomes sustainable for people. And we also hope that the Housing Authority has more affordable housing soon, because this is just a 2-year program, but we hope that if it's successful, it will continue. So the rental assistance was where we started, and a guaranteed income is where we ended, because we felt this was an important opportunity to provide funds directly to tenants so they could manage their money, pay their rent and save money as well. So that's the goal.
Yes, I think the term rental assistance identifies the target who will be eligible for the program. So rather than just a general guaranteed income program, this will focus on the needs of very low.
Let me mention one other thing. Probably need to look at it at both ends. Funds originally coming from a federal program. And I'm assuming that has to be cleared first. Is this a legitimate use for it? And if so, if it can be done this way, if it is, that may take away from its conflict with income from other programs. But, and I'm sure the county staff will research all of this, but those are the kind of questions that, as Jane says, the last thing we want to do is hurt anybody in terms of their eligibility for benefits and the amount that they receive. So I'm sure that will be explored, but I think that's critical. I do agree with Carl too. We really would love to give people, we actually did that in Durham before they set up the Section 8 program, got a grant for it. It worked well. People did good about the way they used it, but feds wanted more control, so they put it through
federal program that had to go to the landlords. So you can argue either side, but I like the idea of trusting folks to make their own decisions. But thanks for all your work on it.
Other comments?
Can you give the question, what is the support, right? What is the ask for support for these individuals? What support?
Okay, well, I think for one thing, when the program is approved, we certainly want you to help spread the word and make people aware, those who need the assistance. And there are churches that have been providing outreach to persons who are having housing problems themselves. So we build on that interaction with members, with neighbors, in order to let them know about the program. And I have other comments about other forms of assistance.
We would love to hear if you have a group that would be interested in having someone come and speak to them. I would be happy to do that. We want to, inform people about this idea because it is something new. We hope a program that will continue and certainly after the first couple of years. This is a good sized pilot that we think, so that we can show that it has an effect and that we can actually measure that it's likely to lose their homes as a result. But we're still working on the metrics, and that's another thing. There's folks who are knowledgeable about measuring these kinds of guaranteed income rental assistance programs. We're still working on the metrics. We know what the goals are is to keep people in their homes and prevent evictions and prevent homelessness. So we do welcome more people, more heads to help us with these last details.
Becky is asking, please review the intake process and eligibility requirements.
Okay.
Okay. So if you are a person in Durham, under 30% of area median income around 18,000-20,000, and your rent is more than 50% of your income. That's what we're looking at.
I just want to give a nod to the expertise in this room and on Zoom. And I love the fact that you all are like so deep in planning this program, which is very cool. We don't have the money. So please, please, please contact your county commissioner. Please come on May 24th. We 100% have to do all the stuff that we're talking about right now. We have to have 3 votes. 3 votes. May 22nd. May 22nd. Okay, just want to underline that.
What time on May 22nd?
7 o'clock.
You ready for the vote? Let's see, I did, for people online, can they use the raise hand feature?
They can.
They go to the, what's the
Reactions.
reactions, and then you'll see you have the option of raising your hand. And for those of you who are here, all in favor of supporting the proposal, raise your hand. Are there any who are opposed? Well, thank you all very much. This is an important innovation that we are promoting, and we will keep you informed about how things progress. I assume has the.
Jim, you went in super speed
Yeah,
fashion.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even look up to see how many hands were up. I think we had 5 on.
Yeah, we have 5 online.
Okay, can we do it again and say all that are,
All the hands were raised here.
okay, all the
You're done.
hands? All right,
And
can you ask again?
4, 5, 15.
Once again, have 5 online.
Yeah,
And
5
if you
online.
want to just wave your hand online.
Yeah,
Just say that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a hand.
Christine got it.
all right.
All right, we're good, we're good.
Thank you. Let us go quickly to updates. Dan, would you say a word about the event next week?
Was anybody here at the grand opening of the Joyce? But I can tell you anything, can I? Okay. No, it's exciting. It's the first new construction, at least since I've been on the board, to be open. And we have 80 units between J.J. Henderson and the Miracle League. And if you don't know what the Miracle League, you need to go on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock to see this facility and to see the young people and their volunteers playing baseball. Yeah, it's fantastic. But our new building has 80 units for aging, elderly, and disabled. And they're all 1 and 2 bedroom units. And from now on, any building we build is going to have mixed income. So it's going to have income up to 80%. A number of those units is 30% and below. And if anybody is interested, we're now taking applications for those units. And I said it, and I'll say it again, everywhere I go, every family we serve, and we serve almost 5,000. There are 3 families out there who are eligible. In this community, we're not reaching. So there's a direct need for more housing. We're going to see a lot more of it on Main Street. Does anybody know why we named it the Joyce? Joyce Nichols. Joyce Nichols in the 60s was living in Dougal Terrace. She tried to organize a residence. And a man by the name of Mr. Oldham, whose name no longer goes in the building next down the street, because he was the CEO of the housing authority. He evicted her, or tried to. Legal services got involved, went to the local court, went to the state courts, state Supreme Court. They all supported him. Went to the U.S. Supreme Court, they overturned it. Now every resident in a public housing unit in this country has a right to due process. Yeah. So yeah, that's the beginning. The second part of that is she actually ended up at some point as a commissioner on the housing authority. In between, she was the first woman to get to be a PA, first Black woman in the country. She worked at Duke. And so I think it's appropriate that we find a very attractive and a good building to meet the needs of housing and name it for. So it was an exciting experience. The only downside is rain. We all had to go inside. It's not room, but it was a good day. It was a good day for Durham, and I was excited to be a part of it. Question?
They taking applications
Yes.
now?
Yes.
Okay.
Go to the website for the housing authority to find out exactly where and when. I can't give you the.
I have a elderly lady, that her rent just went up $1,500. She's 72 and she can't pay it, so she's paying half on the first and half on the 15th. And she's on disability, on SSI.
I can't tell you where they are and what the waiting list is, but the sooner she applies, the better off she is. Jay, you had a question too?
The question, I'm gonna ask you. What's the breakdown of the 80 in terms of?
I don't know how many of them are at 80% or up to 80,
Yeah.
average 60, and I don't have that number. Our restrictions are, and I keep getting this told to me over and over, that unless we get an endowment to pay for units, we can't do it without federal money. It's over $6,000 a year just to provide a subsidy at 30% below. And unless we're not funded to do that. We're funded to do a lot of other stuff, but not to create those. And there was the Faircloth Amendment, which was passed by Congress, hopefully it'll be repealed, that limits the number nationwide of 30% below. His theory is we don't ever want to build any more public housing. So we're going to freeze it where it is. Now, we may be able to recall some that we lost in the past, and Anthony's working hard on that. He's optimistic, but we're not going to be able to provide. We're there 447 downtown now. We'll add another 2,000, but very few more at the 30% below level. They'll be at that level between 30 and 80 is what a lot of them will be, and some will be market. Anything we build from now on will be mixed income in those units. The other thing I've told folks is we're going to build buildings that when you drive down the street, you won't know whether it's a commercial building or publicly funded. And if you'll go by the building we built and go through it, you'll agree it's a place anybody want to live. I mean, it really does look good. It really does. I'm proud of what we've done.
But I think in the nature of transparency, I mean, I'm all for mix and I understand the finances, but I'd like to know what the breakdown is.
So I can get that.
How can we go about finding that?
I can see if I can't, we're moving the units around too, as you know. So that if we build some of the units that are over here on Elizabeth Street may be moved to that location. There'll never be less than 447 downtown. How many more of those we get, I don't know. And it'll vary from development to development. Some will go into this building next door, the 300 block. Some will go into the 500 block. We're trying to spread out all of our public housing in downtown Durham, but not to lose any. We'll be adding some, but we're not going to be losing any. What else on that?
Just quickly, you're probably aware with the emails have been flying around about the current proposals called Simplifying Codes for More Affordable Development, or SCAD. The proposal will be reviewed at a public hearing by the City Council on May 1st at 7 p.m. The planning staff, we've noted in some messages, has completed their analysis, and so you could take a look at that. It's also a very long statement. Note that we didn't really have time and weren't prepared to have a thorough pro and con discussion here, but I think there is the prevalent many people who agree, who've looked at these issues and the questions that have been raised, that the council should postpone adopting these proposals now. And get the planning process back in order. First, approve the comprehensive plan, and then the planning staff was going to re-examine the Universal Development Ordinance. If you look at their analysis, one thing they said, there's obviously some recognition that some of these changes may be worth considering, but at 19 places in their analysis, there is this statement: staff recommend evaluating the effectiveness and impacts of this change as part of the UDO rewrite. So we shouldn't pass them first. That's my opinion. That will be considered by the council on May 1st. Any questions or comments?
Can I move that the coalition make a statement that we think we should pass the UDO first? And then,
No, the comprehensive plan first.
sorry, what he said first, and then look at the rewrite of the, because I watched Whip make a motion, so now I'm gonna do it.
Okay, so the motion is that we recommend that passage of SCAD be postponed until after the comprehensive plan has been adopted and the staff has been able to make their own recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. We are running up to the end of the time, but does anybody have a comment they want?
So what's the timeline for the comprehensive plan and the UDO rewrite? What are we talking? Is that like a year, 5 years?
The comprehensive plan will be approved later this year. And then it will probably probably another 6 months a year, but at least the staff has now started their analysis and has identified those areas that they will look at more closely in the future is what their recommendation is. Any
I'll
other-
second Ann's motion.
True.
The UDO takes 2 years after the comprehensive plan is adopted.
Oh, so are we suggesting, sorry, can I amend my motion?
The motion was that, if the motion was to hold up on SCAD until the comprehensive plan is
That-
done
that's my motion.
this year.
Right, but that means, but to really do all the details gonna be in the UDO, so it's gonna be another 2 years. So it's not like just around the corner. Yeah.
I'm just suggesting, because the be clear on my motion.
That the comprehensive plan, because we've had presentations at this meeting, is close to completion, right? Comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan, okay. So if we could just delay until the comprehensive plan and then ask staff to look at SCAD, which they're already doing.
As part of the UDO, right? Because it won't be in the comprehensive plan, it's gonna be UDO.
Okay, but if they're gonna pass it now, it's not gonna be part of the UDO. Right? If they pass it in May, it won't be part of the UDO. It would be.
They want to change the UDO first.
Okay, so why? Okay, anyway, my motion stands. I would like for them to pause, at least until the comprehensive plan is approved, which is soon, and then to embrace the SCAD, whatever. That's my motion, and it's been seconded.
Mine is.
I have an, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's an amendment, but I think the key issue that people were raising is that this should be.
Johnson Brown. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, we wrote it down.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right.
But I've got-
Okay.
Ashanti Brown is a great person to talk to at the Housing Authority if you have any questions. And they have a great website.
Let's see then. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand in the room. And online, I see a couple. Raise your hands physically. If you can't push up the, raise your hands physically. How many do you see up there?
6, it keeps jumping. Or 7. 7 online.
And any one of us.
So 7 plus 15 here. Okay, I think we have approved it. And remember that meeting will be on May 1st. Two other meeting, quick updates. I've gotten, into a word from, Ellen Beckman, that it looks likely that the Durham County Transit Plan will, will be considered in a public hearing at the Board of County Commissioners on May 8th. So that is now going to be coming up, and they'll get a confirmation. That has not been finalized yet, but looks like that's coming on May 8th. Also, there has been a home buyer assistance program that the city has been supporting, but it hasn't gotten organized yet to get off the ground. And a subcommittee of the city council has been talking about ways to get the program going and to strengthen it. And there's a subcommittee that will be meeting, the third meeting on May 11th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll get notices out about these meetings, but they're looking at ways to, for one thing, they need to get an underwriter to work for the program that didn't have anybody. So even if the money had been approved, they couldn't have gotten their loan approved. So what changes need to be made to get that program in place to move it forward. And that will be discussed on May 11th at 1 p.m. And you can view it online. Any other updates, questions, comments? Well, we want to thank all of you who have signed in, and please send us your messages about how the program ran and what improvements need to be made for virtual attendees at meetings. Thank all of you who have come. It's been a good discussion. And James, thanks for being here to talk about this important pilot, and we will keep working to move it forward. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.